Jim Caviezel has a new movie. You know who Jim Caviezel is. He's the guy who played Bondage Jesus in Mel Gibson's depraved little snuff film, The Passion of the Christ. His latest movie is about child trafficking, a worthy subject, and I hope it does well, but I won't be seeing it. The reason I won't be seeing it is because he's promoting it by traveling around to all the most conservative media outlets. So it's bad. I mean, you know it's bad. We have to be talking about God's not dead levels of suckage for filmmakers to resort to this as a promotional strategy. Screenings in the basements of Baptist churches and hosted by young Republicans in empty classrooms, kind of bad. It's a shame because I think he's a good actor, pretty good actor, but it's not the movie or the sketchy promotional strategy that I want to talk about. Jim Caviezel said during his little conservative press junket, I want to get this right, laws don't mean anything anymore. We don't have a First Amendment. There's no such thing as free speech anymore. You're absolutely destroyed everywhere. And the media throws out, everybody's a racist. I don't know what he's talking about. Do you know what he's talking about? Of course we know what he's talking about. He's talking about cancel culture. He's talking about lefties and progressives using their economic muscle to modify the behaviors of corporations. I need to tell Jim Caviezel something, and everybody on the right out there. It's a truth that all lefties know, like it's written into our DNA. A truth that no one on the right seems to be even aware of. There is no free speech. Sure, you can say whatever you want, of course. You just don't have the right to be free of the consequences. Even when it works the way it's supposed to, and frequently it doesn't, the First Amendment is only supposed to prevent the government from abridging your right to express your opinion. The Haymarket riot, the Stonewall riot, the Kent State massacre, the Edmund Pettus Bridge, the Battle of Blair Mountain, the McCarthy blacklists, Bloody Harlan. Wherever you lie on the spectrum of the political left, ultimately it's a utopian ideology. The assertion that this isn't quite good enough, and the conviction that we can do better for ourselves and each other. That can make you pretty unpopular with people committed to the status quo. It can lead to ostracism and the inability to earn a living, like the McCarthy blacklists, where people had their lives destroyed for discussing alternative systems of economics, often in the privacy of their own living rooms. It can lead to beatings, like the Edmund Pettus Bridge, where civil rights marchers were pummeled by police for demanding their right to vote be respected and asking that people not be shot in the stomach for protesting barriers to registration, like Jimmy Lee Jackson. It can lead to prison, like Charles Schenck, a socialist who distributed flyers during World War I. The flyers said that the draft constituted involuntary servitude and was illegal under the 13th Amendment. They gave him 10 years for that. Or death, like Martin Luther King Jr., civil rights leader and socialist, who was shot dead by James Earl Ray on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel, April 4th, 1968. When you say something unpopular, there's a cost. Whether that cost is exacted by the government, private business, or society at large, you're not free from consequences. History is made by people who know this and are willing to pay that cost. And though it can be a good way to make a little money, earn a living, nobody ever changed the world by being a yes man, by telling the audience things they already believe. But you can do quite a good bit of damage by catering to people's fears and prejudices. Check out the conservative blogosphere these days. What I'm saying to conservatives is this: the consequences of opinions outside the mainstream aren't new. This is how we've always treated unpopular ideas. You've just never been on that side of the equation before. How does it feel, this dose of your own medicine? Not too good, I imagine. That's probably why the red states are going all in on canceling the First Amendment. Bans on books, drag shows, healthcare, history classes, child labor laws. Let me ask you something. Sure, you won. You held back the leftist tide until St. Reagan, the holy see of oligarchy, was anointed on the steps of the Capitol. But what did it take? State police and governors, National Guardsmen mobilizing against striking workers, hearings by the House Un-American Activities Committee and the Senate's Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, a 15-year-long illegal domestic espionage program directed at American citizens called COINTELPRO. And according to Nixon's domestic affairs assistant, John Ehrlichman, an expansion of the drug war that was explicitly targeted at the black community and the anti-war left. You kept unrest from the political left at a simmer, but to keep the lid on, you had to throw the entire government at it for decades to do so. So, when in the late 2010s, a few progressives and a few lefties got enough economic clout to flex their public opinions and get a couple of conservative mouthpieces fired, the American right melts down like a butter sculpture in the July sun. Think about history and try to have a little perspective is all I'm saying. Try not to see things in such solipsistic terms, because my side's been doing this a lot longer and suffered a lot more setbacks along the way. If a couple of canceled talks on university campuses is enough to make you cry uncle and scream foul, you might want to reevaluate your commitment and ask yourselves, are you really up for this? I'm Kevin, and these are my sinister thoughts.